So thank you so much for bringing that. Today, I'm going to give you hopefully some practical tips how we can deal with negative emotions. Okay, some of these you might know already. Okay, especially some of my PIM sister who've been joining PIM. Okay, our East program. So some of these you might know already, but it's good revision that you can share with other ladies. Okay, so last week I especially asked all of you to do an exercise. We talked about how about soul care and self-care, because sometimes when we're not healthy emotionally, we cannot really minister to someone else. Okay, so soul care will be focusing on talking about how can we nourish our soul in God. Okay, so the spiritual pathway workshop, which is last year, have talked about different ways you can build relationship with God. So if you're interested, you can go back. I gave you a website here, or you can go to the YouTube channel, which is In Ministry Toolbox. The workshop also there. Okay, and self-care, which we would be talking about today, things that I can do that I enjoy doing that will help me recharge myself. It doesn't have to be spiritual. So in a sacred rest workshop, we have talked about various ways, like a self-care way to care for ourselves and to rest. Okay, so soul-care. Last week, we have talked about things I can do to nourish myself. Now, remember last week, last session, that I've asked all of you to think about a scenario where you were very angry with your husband. Anyone remember that? Right? And then you draw a picture. Did you remember the circle? You drew a picture of yourself and then asked you what some of the emotions that you experienced during that conflict. And then while you're doing that, and ask God to also give you healing and in the process. So I think all of us, we know all of us have an emotional wealth tank. So all of us has an emotional wealth tank. Basically, it's a tank that we need to experience God's healing and experience of his love. Okay. If our tank is full, if our emotional tank is full, we can minister to others. We can be generous emotionally to reach out to others. But sometimes we fail. We're thinking our spouse can fill up this emotional tank, okay? But sometimes in some situations, in many situations, only God can really fill that emotional tank. Deep down in our heart, there's a void that only God can fill out. And I'll explain more later, okay? So how full is your emotional tank right now? Now, what are some of the ways that helped you to get an emotional wealth tank filled up by God? Okay. Now, I want all of you now, please type in the chat. I want you to type in the chat right now. What are some of the ways that helped you to be filled by God emotionally? What are some of the things, activities, or things that you can do to help yourself to get your emotional tank filled up? So if you could please now type in the chat. So read his words. Yeah, fill up by reading his words. Yes. What else can you do to be filled up by God, your emotional tank? Listen to worship song. Yes, very good. Yes. Okay. When I spend quiet time with God, prayer walk with God. Very good, Ashley. Stitching, yes. Some of the creative sister read Bible and other books. Okay, very good. So talk to your husband and friends. Very good. Sing song to God, read God's word. Very good. Okay, listen, watch preaching, attending Sunday service. Okay, very good. Now, if you go back to the spiritual pathway workshops, we have discussed 7 different ways to get close to God. Okay, 7 different ways to get close to God. So if you have time, I encourage you to watch that video, because we have suggested 7 different ways, creative ways I can reach out to God. Okay, that we talked about worship, service, creativity, intellectual, contemplative. So there are different ways that we can really connect with God. Talk to my prayer partners. Very good. All right. So a workshop coming up in May. This is one of the workshops that I hope to share with you all. Recently, I found a new way to connect with God is through drawing. okay, through drawing. Okay, now I'm not really an artist, okay, but I find that through the process of meditating my day through drawing helped me so much to see God's fingerprints on my daily life. Okay, so if you're interested, please come to this workshop in May 13, Friday. Okay, I call it Colorful Prayers Workshop. So it's a fun, creative workshop. Okay, now I want to spend some time talking about negative beliefs. How many of you heard about this term before? Raise your hand. What is negative beliefs? Anyone know? Any guesses? No? Okay. Any guesses? Anyone? What does it remind you of? What is negative beliefs? Anyone? Anyone want to guess? No? Okay, all right, no problem. Lily, you want to guess? Did you?
Maybe doubt yourself.
Doubt yourself. Okay, some doubt about yourself. Okay, all right. Let me just, some of you didn't have a chance to come to our negative makeover of mind workshop. So I'll just quickly, Shirley was here. And I will quickly highlight a few things that was very useful, especially helping us to understand sometimes our negative beliefs really determine how we react to certain things and our feelings. So when we talk about negative beliefs, we talk about the core beliefs deep down inside us that we believe about ourselves, okay? And because of these beliefs, sometimes they might not be true, that actually affect our assumptions and also affect our thoughts and actions, okay? So I want to give you, so core belief is something that is rigid and long-standing beliefs about yourself, others, and about this world, okay? So let's say you have a core belief thinking, I can never trust anyone in my life. I can never trust anyone in my life. So having the core beliefs that makes you almost like wearing a glasses, okay? A tinted glasses to see everything in this world, okay? So if I say I never trust anyone, so when I see, let's say I'm a new friend of Sonia, okay? She asked me a few questions and I start doubting her intention. Hey, why is Sonia asking me this question? I don't think she's trustworthy. I think she must have up to no good because of my tinted glasses. Now, of course, this is not true. Sonia is very sweet and kind and very honest, okay? But I'm just using her as an example. So when I'm saying that you have a core beliefs that has been with you, you've been 40 years, something years old. That core beliefs might have stayed with you 40 something years old. Something that you deep down, you think about it and affect the way you see things, your experiences and the situation in life. Now, if you have a negative core beliefs, let's say I have a negative core beliefs, so everything I see is negative thoughts, negative feelings, and affect my negative behavior. So the example I just given, let's say I'm a new friend of Sonia. My negative core beliefs thinking, I cannot trust anyone. So anything Sonia told me, being my friend, she's my friend, even though how truthful she is, I do not believe that. I always think she must have an agenda. Okay, that's the not negative core beliefs. However, if you have a positive core beliefs, okay, then you will be have result in positive thoughts, feelings, and behavior. So let's say if I have a positive core belief thinking, I think I can trust people. People in generally, they are nice and kind. Now that will affect how I interact with people because I would not be suspicious of the actions and I am a very positive person because in general, I think all my friends, people I know, they're kind and genuine and nice. So that affects my thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Okay, so we all have many thoughts come to our mind every day, right? Can you relate to that? Raise your hand. You have so many thoughts come to your mind, come and go. But sometimes we think when the thought comes, we think that is real. Okay, so this is so important. We spend some time talking about here. Now, all our thoughts are real. Okay, they come and go. We cannot control that. We cannot control our thoughts. But not all our thoughts are true. Not all our thoughts are accurate and not all our thoughts are helpful. Now we have to distinguish that. We have to separate, right? The thoughts will come, okay? It's automatic, Okay, we cannot choose which thought, to come or not. Okay, they just come randomly, especially women. I think there's so many thoughts in the mind. But they are not all true, not all accurate, and not all helpful. Okay. Now, I think this is so important for us as women to know that, because sometimes when the thought come, we think, oh, whatever we think is true. Even though, some of the things that we come to our thought, we think, oh, this must be true. Okay. So we have to train our mind and tell ourselves, yes, the thoughts are real, but they may not be true, accurate, and helpful. Not all thoughts are accurate and helpful. Okay, so we have talked about in the workshop, where do our core beliefs come from? So usually when we have the thought, that affects how we act and how we feel. Okay, when the thought comes, affect how we feel. So the feelings, how we feel, affects how we think and how we act. Okay, when you have that feeling, kind of prompted you to act out your feeling. Okay, so we all know that, right? Because when we have an argument with someone, it usually the thought comes first, and then we have a feeling, and then we start, behaving. Okay, so where these thoughts come from? Okay, so the core belief is not something that we're born with, but it's something that we have learned over the years. So we learn it during our childhood, a stressful time. It could be when you're young, your parents told you, hey, you're stupid. You will never be able to make it in school. Now that thought, which is a really bad core beliefs, it's not true sometimes, okay? It's just the parent, how they say about you. So deep down your heart, you keep believing that you're stupid. You cannot do things, okay? And this is a core belief, a negative core belief that kind of born with you, you learned it since your childhood. So every time you want to do something, you remember what your parents say to you, that I will never be able to do it because I'm not smart. Okay, so this is so important. That also affects how we say things to our children, right? We have to be very careful the word that we chosen or the words that we speak to others, because that will affect how they see themselves. Okay. So they're not reinforced, or any information contradict, they can't ignore it. So even though they know, this what they're thinking is not true, they just ignore it. This is my core belief. This is it. Now, here are some of the core, negative core beliefs here. I want you to spend some time looking at this list. Now, there might be more than one or two or few of them kind of related to you. Okay, so I don't deserve love. I'm a bad person. I'm terrible. I'm worthless. I'm not lovable. I'm shameful. Or sometimes, your negative core beliefs about God. Maybe you keep thinking God is a mad God. Okay, he is disappointed. Okay, he's not loving. He doesn't care. He's not truthful. He doesn't want me. Okay, so these are some of the core negative core beliefs. Some of us might have multiple of these. I can see myself, I have multiple of these. Okay, so I want you to spend some time, 2 minutes, just write it down. What are some of the core beliefs? Just some of the wrong core beliefs you can identify with. Okay, so I want you to write down your piece of paper. I give you 2 minutes. Write down 1 or 2 negative core beliefs that you can relate from this list. Then you can write down. I think at many times in my life, I often feel I'm not good enough. Okay. Everything I do, I feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. Who am I to do this? Who am I to do that? Who am I to? So I always sometimes, really deal with this issue as well. Okay. All right. So let me move on. Why do we have to know our negative core beliefs? Now, how do you think a negative core beliefs would affect us? Okay. Anyone? Any thoughts? How do our negative beliefs would impact us? Analyze us. So here are some of the symptoms that we might be able to relate. Okay. We might have difficulty trusting someone or feeling inadequate in a relationship, or overly confrontational or aggressive. We easily get angry. Overly passive or trying to avoid depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, low self-worth, and difficulty handling stress. So the negative core beliefs impact us, kind of paralyze us, like what Ash just said, it kind of paralyzes us. So how should we see our emotion? Our emotions are responding to what we're thinking and believing to be true about yourself, God, and others around you, and life in itself. Okay, so the effect, what you actively believe will eventually be revealed in your life like a fruit of tree, revealed in its roots. Okay, so what you believe, what we've been talking about, your thoughts affect your thinking, and your thoughts affect your feelings, and your feelings affect your actions. Okay, so if we are rooted, grounded in love and acceptance that only God can offer, that believing that true. Remember, I told you about only God. We need to sort out our negative emotions in Him so that we can be effective to serve others. We need to be healthy in our inside, okay, with God, so that, that's the only way we can have a healthy core beliefs. So these are the two trees that you can see. I just want to put it visually. So when you're thinking, I'm alone, I'm a failure. So all these negative core beliefs here, then, all this negative fruits will come out in our lives. Like we feel worthless, we feel we're so selfish, we feel depressed, we are frustrated, we're angry, we lust, because we're not truly, we don't sense the true love in God. We really, our worth, depends on our looks. We have different things kind of at the roots of a problem. Whereas if we have a good, healthy self-esteem, not self-esteem, but good root, a foundation or good core beliefs, then we will have good fruits that are coming up. So that's why I've been suggesting, when we have issues, we need to build up this part where we have a core beliefs, true foundations in God's truth, so that we can really have good fruits. Okay, I want to show you a quick example. You're probably thinking, what is she talking about? So I'm going to give you a practical example, and in just a minute, I will also let you do this exercise yourself, okay? So I'll give you a quick example here. So let's say my core beliefs, for some time, this is what I think, okay? I must look good, okay? I must look pretty in order to feel worthy, okay? This is my core belief, okay? Since I'm growing up in Hong Kong and my family. So this is what I believe. Okay, the situation like this, okay? So I felt very frustrated when my husband doesn't compliment my physical appearance. Okay, if he doesn't say I look good or pretty, if I have a new outfit, I would feel very frustrated. Okay, and my thoughts, this is my thought. So I think he doesn't value me. Okay, he doesn't value me. This is my thought, okay? And my feelings, okay? I feel angry and resentful when he's not complimenting my look. So I feel angry, okay? So my behaviors that lead to my behaviors, so I hold grudges against him. I don't talk about it, but I'm angry inside. I'm silent. And I lean towards those who give me compliments. Now, this is very dangerous situation, okay? If people like another brother compliment me, wow, can you imagine how dangerous it is if I lean towards more of the other brother, okay, because of his compliments, because of this core beliefs that I have, okay? Can turn into a very temptation, very dangerous situation, okay? So this is my core beliefs that affect what I think, my feelings, and affect my behaviors, okay? So you can see how our core beliefs affect our thoughts, how they affect our feelings, and how they affect our behaviors. Okay, so now I want you to think about one core belief that you have, okay? And I want you to draw these 4 circles. I'm going to give you some time, and you think about a situation personally, maybe a recent conflict with someone, or just something that you have to work on continuously, and you think about a situation, okay? What are some of the thoughts, okay, that, this core belief makes you realize this situation, this core belief affects your thoughts, your feelings, and your behavior, okay? Does it make sense? Everyone know what we're doing? Yes? Yes? Okay, good. So I want to give you 5 minutes, just a few minutes to think through this, okay? So you can sort out what are core beliefs. And later on, we're going to talk about how can we replace the negative core beliefs, okay? So I'm going to give you 5 minutes, think about a situation. What is your one core belief that, in this situation, you can see that your core beliefs actually affect how you think, how you feel, and how you act. To now propose how can we change those negative thoughts. I think all of us recognize we have negative thoughts. This is part of life. It is true. It's our human nature. And all those thoughts, negative core beliefs is deep down in us because since we're growing up, we learn those core beliefs. So how can we replace them? Okay. So here are a few things that we can do. First of all, acknowledge them. Okay. Don't just shove it aside. Sometimes we don't really spend time analyzing our negative emotions, right? I don't think we would, usually we don't pause and think about, what caused all these negative emotions. So the first thing we should do is to see, hey, what are some of these negative emotions? You might want to write it down, okay? Why do I have these negative emotions? And then you can kind of question it, okay? Is this core belief accurate? Is this belief accurate? Or is it true? Is this absolutely true, this core belief, okay? And then you try to understand where did they come from. Then this part you have to ask God, okay, why do I have these emotions keep coming back to me? Every time this thing happened, I will have this emotion. Where did it come from? Where did it come from? And then you'll find evidence against them and compare it with God's word. I think we all know that. And to try to replace them, we can change and rewriting our brain through this. We train our brain to think about the things. And I love how Philippians 4:8 says here, we all know this verse so well, okay? Finally, brethren, whatever is true, the word true means truth, whatever is truth, okay? Whatever is honorable, inspiring references, anyone that is inspiring to you, okay, whatever is right, anything that is righteous before God, keeping his commands, whatever is pure, anything is sacred, clean, pure from fault, whatever is lovely, pleasing, acceptable, whatever is of good repute, sounding well, if there is any excellence, moral goodness, virtuous thoughts, feeling, and actions, if anything worthy of praise, dwell on these things. So the scripture is already telling us we need to replace our mind with God's positive thought. So I would recommend you remember this very good verse here. Whenever you have thoughts that come into your mind that is negative core beliefs, what are some of the things that you can think that is true, that is honorable, that is right, that is pure? Now, not all thoughts come to our mind is true. Okay, we have talked about it. Not all thoughts come to mind is accurate. Okay, we have talked about this. Okay, so kind of evaluate as these thoughts come and go. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example. How can we replace those thoughts? So this is my example here. Remember earlier I told you about this core belief I have. I must look pretty to feel worthy. Okay, that was my core belief before. Okay, so is this core belief accurate? Where does this core belief originate from? So since I was growing up, I often compliment and praised by the things I do or the way I look, especially my mom. So this comes from kind of growing up years. I know that if my mom, I do something right, or if I look pretty that day, my mom would definitely compliment me. So it becomes something that I yearn for, I look forward to. So this has become part of me. What is the evidence against the core belief? God says I'm valuable, not because of what I do or how I look, okay? So what does God say about this core belief? This is the wrong core beliefs because God says I'm valuable no matter what, not because of my look, not about my achievement. And I must tell you, this core belief replaced by the truth from God that I am a child of God. I am a princess of the Most High King. I've shared before, this truth has changed my perspective so much. Just the fact that I don't have to get into the right university to feel important. I don't have to get into the right job to feel important. I don't have to look in certain ways so that I feel valuable and important. Okay, so this is how I change my core beliefs. Okay, revise it, replace it, so that now, even though my husband don't compliment me physically, I'm okay because I no longer, relying on him to give me the worth. No, we rely on other people compliments to, to make me feel important or worthy. And I have a calling in life that my life is to please God. It's no longer pleasing others. Okay. So you see how this has changed my perspective and how that free me up. Okay. Free me up to do the things God calls me to do instead of focusing on all my time and energy, investing how I look. Okay. Otherwise, I don't think I'll be talking to you. I'll be spending so much time going shopping and thinking which surgery I should do on my face. It's just how it changes everything. I love how Ashley said earlier, our core belief kind of handicap us. Okay, especially the wrong one. Okay, so I won't be doing what I'm doing if this core belief still, tangle me that I cannot live out the true purpose that God has given me. All right. So, all right. So now it's your turn. Okay. Remember, I just asked you to write down core beliefs. Now evaluate this. Okay. I want to write this down in your piece of paper. Is this core beliefs that you have, that the exercise that we've done, is that true? And where does it core beliefs comes from? Where does it come from? Okay. And what is the evidence that God said this core belief is wrong? Okay. God said this core belief is wrong. And how can I revise my core beliefs? Now, I have a bunch of scripture here in case the best way to replace our core beliefs is through scriptures and knowing who we truly are. Okay, that's the best way to have a healthy core beliefs. We have to go back to the scripture. So I'll give you a few minutes to think about this. I want you to write it down. Okay, these few questions. And if you have time, that in the 10 minutes that I'm going to give you, I want you to draw a symbol or picture to remember what are your new revised core beliefs. What did God say to you? This new core beliefs, I want you to remember. Okay. And I love how Romans says here, do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by renewing of our mind. The renewing means renovation. When we do renovation, we have to take out the bad things, the things that no longer, useful to us. So it's a continual process. We have to renew our mind almost every day, or sometimes even every minute. When those negative core beliefs come to us, we have to renew them. We have to replace them with God's truth. Okay, so I'll give you a few minutes that you can do this exercise. Okay, answer these questions. And if you still have time, I want you to draw a picture to remember how God said your true core beliefs that you should be focusing on. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so if you have time, I want you to go back to think about, I'm sure we don't have just one negative core belief. We have many negative core beliefs that we need to work through. So I hope this exercise will help you today, but also all of us to work through other core beliefs, negative core beliefs that we have. And so the next page I want to show you, there's something called toxic positivity. It's a new term for young people now. Okay, what is it talking about is sometimes we kind of ignore our negative feelings, thinking those things is not good. So we should not talk about it. We put a silver lining. Okay, when people tell you, oh, things are going bad and whatever, you kind of disregard that negative feelings, okay, or dismiss that, okay, kind of push it away. So instead, we shouldn't do that. It's okay to experience negative feelings, experiencing guilt or angry. So sometimes the toxic positivity is the one who experience guilt and being sad and angry if they feel negative feelings, or they kind of dismiss other people's difficult feelings, or hiding painful emotions, or kind of reciting positive quotes in bad situation. Oh, just be positive. Okay, kind of ignoring the root cause of the problem, ignoring the problems. So I think sometimes it's so easy, we as Christians, right, when people share something with you, the first thing we start quoting scriptures. We start telling, hey, don't worry, you'll be fine, blah 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 blah. But sometimes it's important for a person to process those negative thoughts, like what we do today. Where does it come from? Why we have these negative feelings? Where this originate? Okay, and then in the process, God would, heal that person. So they need to be honest with God. Okay, you have to also teach others that the people that we minister to, it's okay, let them to be feeling that way. And then in the process, like I love how David and other people in the Bible, they're always so vulnerable, so honest. They never hide the true feelings. If you read Psalms, right, how David, wow, really, when we hate someone, the enemies, he curse the person till wow. But you know what? In this process, because of his vulnerability and his honesty, God heals him in the process. So hopefully we also adapt this mentality. Okay, if it's okay, we have negative feelings. It's part of us. And it's God's way of telling us there's something wrong underneath. There's a root cause causing these negative beliefs. Okay, so when we talk about spiritual rest, we will bring our negative brokenness before God. Okay, so beware of the toxic positivity. Okay, trying to shove everything away. Everything is good, no problem. People tell you, even yourself, there's something wrong, something emotionally you feel like not feeling good. You kind of say, oh, I'm okay. So, but trying to understand where it is coming from. All right. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about for the remaining time, I will quickly go over this. I'm sure all of us know about this concept of self-care, right? Yeah, you heard about self-care before, everyone? Yeah, such a popular term. Now, if this is one of the most popular searchable thing in Instagram or in many places, okay? Self-care. So self-care, we're not talking about obsessions like what we talk about these days. Some self-care are very self-centered and it's all about me. We're not talking about that, okay? But what are some of the things that we can do or not doing to recharge ourselves? Okay, it doesn't have to be spiritual. Okay, it could be something that you enjoy doing that can recharge yourself. So we talked about soul care, that we need to sort out our negative emotions before God. Another aspect of making sure we have healthy emotions is having regular self-care, caring about ourselves. Okay, so here are a few things that I want to show you. The self-care, there could be so many areas of self-care. Could be mental, emotional, physical, environmental, spiritual, recreational, and social. Okay, I'm going to give it all to you later so you can look at this in detail. So there are different areas of self-care. And one of the workshops we talked about sacred rest. You remember the sacred rest workshop that we have highlighted 7 different areas that we can rest. So kind of similar to that. Okay, it's how the 7 areas that we can rest, find to how we can replenish ourselves. There's something very interesting called happy brain chemicals. How many of you heard about this? Raise your hand. Okay, now all of us, this is something that is true in all our bodies. Okay, we have something called happy chemicals. Okay, sometimes we feel depressed, we're angry, or we're frustrated. It could be we lack of certain chemicals in our body. Okay, this is proven. It's a medical proven fact. Okay, for example, dopamine is something that is a reward chemical. Try something new, learn, maybe listen to music that will give you a reward chemical called dopamine. Okay, make a list of tasks, complete them. Another type is serotonin. Okay, which is exercise. When you get sunlight, when you meditate, a healthy diet will give you that kind of chemicals in your body, the healthy chemicals in your body. Okay, oxytocin, and this is a love hormone that we need. Maybe you get a massage, spend time with your friends, show affection, doing something nice. Okay, endorphins could be exercise. Okay, create art, music, laughter, meditation. Okay, so as you can see, these are the areas that, the chemicals we need to make ourselves healthy emotionally. Now, I'll give you a quick example. For myself, I noticed I would get depressed when I didn't exercise that week. I really quickly, I can sense that. I feel very depressed, my emotional, very down because if I lack of exercise, physical exercise that week. And I noticed a huge difference in my emotion as well. So I noticed that when I don't have enough exercise one week, or I didn't go out to have a walk, I will feel very depressed. So that is my endorphins, okay? So these are the areas that we need to pay attention to, okay? Not besides what we talked about, soul care. The self-care also very important. These areas or these kind of chemicals is very important in our brain to make us being healthy emotionally, okay? There's so many things you can do. I'm going to give you the whole list. There are many things you can do to do self-care. The 5 minutes, 1 minute self-care, 10 minutes self-care, 20 minutes self-care. And I want to encourage you to dedicate at least 5 minutes a day. Do something for yourself. Be kind to yourself, okay? I know all of us as women, we do things for everybody else except ourselves, okay? We do everything for everybody, okay, except ourselves. When we're not healthy emotionally, we explode on our kids. We explode on our husband, okay? We scream at, the people around us. We just feel negative. We just cannot move on. You just don't have strength to move on the next day because you're not healthy, okay? This is a great investment to all of us. This is not selfish at all. This is not selfish at all when we do self-care because we are actually being responsible. This temple of God that God gave us, we being responsible so that we can move forward. We can continue to serve more effectively and being emotionally healthy. Okay, so I hope we'll make a discipline now. Everybody, at least 5 to 10 minutes each day. Okay, not being selfish. Do something you enjoy that replenish yourself. Okay, for me now, I do it at the end before I go to sleep. I would take out my drawing book and I would listen to my favorite music, calm music, and I start to draw. That's my way of replenishing myself. And I feel very replenished as I listen to the soft music and paint. Okay, that's my way of doing self-care. So everyone find a way. Think of 1 or 2 things. Okay, I let you. The next exercise I want you to do is to think about some of the things that you can do, okay? What are some of the creative things you can do? Just some of you are creative. You might be enjoy doing things, and you can see it. This Proverbs 31 woman, she is super creative, right? And with her hands. So we are creative in different ways. By the way, we don't have to all, know how to make clothes. We don't all have to make, doing things with our hands. Okay, some of us are creative in different ways. So some of my creative things that I do is I make flowers, make jewelry. Is one of my fun thing for myself. Okay, so I'm sure all of us have a fun thing for yourself. Okay, so I want you to think about, okay, if you have this container, okay, in you. Okay, I want you to think about what are some of the things that will help you, things that you enjoy doing, that will recharge yourself. Okay, so I'll give you 2 minutes. Just think about, write down what are some of the things you can do. As I mentioned, 5 to 10 minutes self-care. Something that you can do every day or something you can do occasionally to meet up with friends and like that, things like that. All right, I'll give you 2 minutes. Think about what are some of the things I can do to kind of replenish myself. All right. I want you to go back and ask your husband these questions, okay? So now that you know how to fill up your own emotional tank, how can you also fill up his emotional tank? Of course, we're not truly satisfy his needs, okay? This is just impossible, okay? Only God can truly satisfy his needs. But you can ask him, what can I do to make you feel loved, okay? What is his love language? Okay, how can I make him feel loved? How can I show understanding of your needs or the pressure you face? How can I be a better companion to you? So you might want to ask your husband, how can I fill up your emotional tank? What are some of the things I can do that make you feel loved, that you feel supported? Okay, so this might be an exercise you can do. Also ask your husband. Okay. Okay, so I want to talk over here. What are some of the signs that you know that you emotionally disconnect with your spouse? Okay, here are some of the things that that is. I think a lot of marriages sometimes, as we kind of progress in our years, it's so easy for us if we're not intentional building this relationship. It's very easy for us to drift apart emotionally. It's a fact. It's very easy. Okay. So here are some signs that that is kind of shows that we're emotionally disconnected with a spouse. Are you spending less time together? Is the quality time spent together are not so good anymore? You don't even want to spend a long time with your spouse. It's just so awkward. You just don't enjoy. Did you have a baby and there's less energy for one another? Did you stop having fun together? Okay. Has your engagement with each other turned completely logistic in nature? So just basically talking about business only. So maybe just who's going to pick up the kids, who's going to do what, who's going to do, buy things from the store. Is work or other external stressor causing distress on your relationship? Maybe the workload is so heavy that you don't even have time to see each other. Okay. Or do you both hardly have time to talk to each other in a meaningful way or nothing to talk about? Okay. So these are some of the signs that that kind of show that we emotionally disconnect with our spouse. So what are some of the obstacles for us to connect with our spouse? So right now, I want you to type in the chat. What are some of the obstacles for you that you have experienced in yourself? What are some of the obstacles that you have experienced to connect with your spouse emotionally? So if you don't mind, type in the chat. Okay, very good. Here are a few things I want to show all of you. Probably you have these problems. I mean, these challenges also. So I think sometimes it's so easy for us to see our husband as our enemy. How many of you can relate to that? Especially when we're frustrated. So it's so easy we see our husband as our enemy, okay? I think it's so true. All of us have experienced that. I must admit many times sometimes that we all experience that. Sometimes we feel our husband is our enemy, okay? So here are some of the things that really stopping us from connecting with our spouse. Invisible walls, okay? Unresolved conflicts from the past or differences in our personalities, okay? Hurtful word, deeds, or attitudes, silent treatment to one another, okay? Too busy, too tired, right? Too busy of life, work, or ministry. Distracted, we might be occupied with a phone and gadgets. Other things would be kids. They are very, they need our help. Okay, so instead of we focusing on our husband's need, we focus on our kids' needs, and we can't even have a real conversation. Just every 2 minutes, their kids will come and say, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." You just can't even finish your sentence with your husband. Unmet expectation, guessing game. Okay, sometime, or maybe sometime you expect your husband to do something, but he didn't, so you feel very frustrated. No time to build a relationship. Okay, as I mentioned before, baggage from the past, some of the negative core beliefs. Okay, we just talked about. We spent the half of today class talking about that and how does that affect us. Okay, those negative core beliefs. Sometimes we kind of expect our spouse to fulfill those core beliefs, right? Affect our action. Or some of the childhood past trauma or hurts that kind of needs professional help, that we cannot connect with someone emotionally. Okay. So which one of these are your obstacle? Okay, I'll give you a quick 1 minute to think about this. And also at the same time, ask God to help you remove those challenges. Okay, I'll give you a quick 1 minute time. Which one of these that you relate to it? And then ask God, God, help me to remove these obstacles. Okay. So I hope that you have a chance to think through this, and what are some of the so I hope that you have a time to think through this. What are some of these obstacles kind of stopping you connecting with your spouse emotionally? And I think later on I'm going to talk more what are some of the solutions. And I think there's some right mindset that we need to bear in mind. It's like our husband cannot read our mind. Okay, they cannot read our mind. Okay, but sometimes we assume they can read our mind. That's why we got frustrated. How come you don't know? We've been married for so long. Okay, so we got frustrated because we expect our husband can read our minds. Okay, forgive. Sometimes I'm not perfect either. Okay, we just have to think that, even the things I picked on, but I'm also not perfect. Communicate those thoughts wisely. Sometimes you might have to break the wall. Okay, find the right timing to have those hard conversations. And because unresolved conflicts will just keep building the wall between you and your husband. Okay, unresolved conflicts. Okay, it just keep building out. So only God can satisfy our needs and heal our shame and understand our deepest thought. Focus on the good things and don't compare. Sometimes we love to compare our husband with someone else's husband or what we expect he should be. And I learned my lessons when I was in US. I was studying. One of my sister friend husband, he's Italian. So very passionate, very expressive type. Okay. I remember when we were at the retreat, her husband kept texting her all those love messages and all that. So as you can see, I saw her, wow, her husband so expressively expressed a feeling towards her. I started hold grudges against my own husband. I was like, how come my husband's not like that? Okay. Of course he's not like that. He's a Chinese. Okay. Chinese don't express as much. But because of my expectations, start comparing him with other people, I got dissatisfied. Okay, so I think sometimes it's so easy if we start comparing our husband with someone else. Okay, all right. So last exercise before you go, I want you to think about this. Okay, I want you to draw this little flower here. Okay, it's so easy for us to focus on the negatives of our husband. It's natural. Okay, our mind just easily dwell on the negative things. So I want you to draw these flowers. What are you going to draw? Remember this verse again, Philippians 4:8. Finally, brother, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is good, pure, if there is any excellence or anything worthy of praise, dwell on these things. I want you to draw this flower, and then I want you to count all the good things and the qualities from your husband. Okay, so each flower petal, you put one of his good qualities here. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes that you can draw this flower and then count some of the good qualities that you see in your husband. Okay. All right, so I hope all of you have enjoyed this exercise. Is it helpful that you remember the good things about your husband? Okay, so put it somewhere that you can see often. Okay, maybe cut that out. Okay, you can show it to your husband. I think he will be encouraged as well how you see him. You can say, "Oh, why don't you do one for me?" you also can think of all the good qualities about me. So I'm just joking. Okay, so think about how does it make you feel, my sister? One of you can share, or so just share. I think all of us after this exercise we start to realize, oh, actually my husband is actually quite good. It's not as sometimes we easily dwell on the bad things. So I find it this is my mental exercise now. Every time I have a negative thoughts towards my husband, I have to replace it. What are some of the good things that I can dwell on? What are some of the things that is true? What are some of the things that that is who he is, how I should appreciate the way that how God created him, instead of comparing him with other husbands or with social media, with the movies, Korean drama, or whatever it is. Okay, all those romantic scenes that sometimes we expect our husband would do for us. Let's just comparison. Okay, so I just love this exercise. I do it constantly now in my mind to remind myself. I want to bring you one attention. If you're interested, there is a workshop coming up. It's called How to Live Life to the Fullness. Okay, so if you're interested, you can look at the screen here.